everyone. I have a little bit of an update from Monday, actually. It's been kind of a pretty interesting couple of days. Eeka went up for his court and to have all contracts removed and what have you. Those individuals from again, because it's interdimensional, the past, present, and the future, who had, nefarious intent. So, it was curious. It was a 2 hour court, which kind of probably would translate to almost 20 hours on the upstairs, so interdimensional time. So it's there was a long one on Monday, and some challenging things occurred from that court. One of which is that, well, he's got all of his, they take your DNA and all this, he gets all that back. But in integrating it back into himself. And we'll come to find out many years ago when he, I'm going to go back, what, 14 years ago, when, because he wanted to come to Earth, he had joined a group that had made an alliance between the GFW and the United States Air Force Special Forces to work down here with the American military. So interestingly, I'm not even sure I should describe this, but I'm just going to go and say he ended up getting abducted by Greys while he was down here, about 14 or so years ago. And the Gray, I mean, he doesn't remember any of it. Doesn't remember being abducted. Obviously, they kind of wipe you and everything. I don't think a lot of people understand that these abductions by these nefarious extraterrestrial groups, races, species, whatever you want to call them, organizations, any of the above. They don't just take Earth humans. This is a thing that I think a lot of Earth humans need to understand. Earth is not separate from everything else that's going on. It's just another planet there, floating in space with other planets, and everybody is affected by these negative individuals. So flying around in space is not a wonderful, safe thing to do. You're always at risk when you're up there. So he ended up getting abducted, and they made hybrid children, and we have 13 hybrid children, and we took the children. Obviously, they look a lot like him. They're more humanoid than they are gray. So they're back on Era, and they're at a place where I used to actually go to and work and help at times, because we do take in refugees, people who have been through trauma, and they get sort of rehabbed, and many stay there. There's Earth humans on Era, so that's where the kids are now. And he's been spending some time in the astral because he really, really loves kids, and it was very traumatic for him. And so now we have quite a big collection. Oh, so I'm glad he likes kids. There you go. They're I mean, well, they're mine, obviously, but they're not, genetically mine at all. They're hybrids. So yeah, we have 13 kids. So he also broke all contracts with the military, so he has resigned. He's no longer working with the military. He's in a safe place. I don't know where. I don't need to know where. I don't want him making any decisions that could be still dangerous out there. But this is a huge event that happened Monday, and we were processing it together on Monday night. I kind of remote viewed it, and I'm like, oh, I see what happened. I don't want to explain it here. I just don't think it's a good idea of how we ended up getting abducted. But yeah, so he has no memory of it. He still has no memory, really, just what I told him. And it is what it is. So what he says ultimately after this, and I mean, he just felt really good. I'll just be, I mean, it's just, we both feel really good. Him, he's been in various forms of the military ever since I came here. So you're talking about, 50 years that he's been doing this, and it's getting old. And I think for sure, for many of the your ET counterparts who are working on this mission, this has been going on for a really long time, and everybody's really sick of it, like really sick of it. So yeah, he just was total release to get out of there. So yeah, he's in a safe place now. It's an ET place. It's here on Earth, but he doesn't want to really leave Earth right now, obviously. But yeah, I don't think it's safe. And I told him don't do anything, you know. I don't trust, you know, a lot of so they know what happened. It's not like it's not there's no mystery here. Everybody knows, the military knows. And it was all done with honor and all that stuff, you know. So it's just, you know, I don't think it's safe for him to move around anyway. So he says, you know, um is era tunnamon heldara and he says, you know, he just feels like he's returned, you know, he's gotten rid of all this, you know, baggage or you know, this the weight, the weight has been lifted. And it's definitely he was never that kind of person anyway. It was a real uh pushing your self to the edge to do that kind of thing. So it's pretty it was yeah, for sure. So what the Greys did was there was some stuff in his DNA, specifically that you know, a lot of groups wanted. Let's just let's just say, oh, he had mimics, and I hope nobody ever met with one. Those are all removed. So any clones that they made, they're all gone too. So I just hope I've never met one. They never sent a mimic to me. I guess they probably figured it would I would know. But yeah, so it's yep. Hope like I said, I hope no one um tried, you know, met a mimic of him. You're not gonna meet one now, so no worries about that. So the Greys, let's see. Uh, so they had made some deals. There were some diplomatic deals that facilitated him and other actually ETs that were here to be, you know, cloned and you name it. They were going to put some of his consciousness into a ship and a lot of that stuff. So um, it was you know, again they kind of, you know, they fragment your DNA and your templates, your DNA templates, and so they uh would then mix you know, it's like yeah, they you know, they take things from a man and they you know, they they do it's complicated the way they do this. I'm actually not even sure how they do it because it's way above me and my understanding of to you know, in these type of incubation chambers, they were able to do this. So yeah, the kids are free. They're different, you know, because of their, you know, some because of their gray nature, part of it. I mean, they're very sweet though. There's nothing dangerous about them. You know, that's a big myth. You know, some of them, some of them don't work out well. These did because they're more Pleiadian than they are gray, so it's not so destructive. They're not going to harm anybody. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, folks probably heard all this like it's part of a gray hybrid return, blah blah. That's not going to happen. There's never, and that was never going to happen with these kids anyway. So people just make stuff up, you know. It's like yeah. Um, so it's like so there was really these kids were not going to be used as weapons. They weren't going to be super soldiers. They weren't going to be you know, anything nefarious. No agenda with them. Um, I'm not quite sure actually what the intent was for these guys, but anyway, the intent now is for them to try to heal and see what we get, you know, see what happens. They're fine, you know. There's no I know some folks that ask, you know, well, what are they going to do? They don't have to do anything. We don't live like that. I actually had a great horse trainer, and she always said, you know, it's people are we're human beings, not human doings. And I think that describes what life like is like on Era. If you have a passion and you really want to pursue something, a career, whatever, you can do that. Everybody assists in some way, but you don't have to do really anything. We don't exist to do. We don't exist to serve, you know. There's a desire for most beings to do those, to serve, you know, but they don't. there's no expectations, just for them to, see where they go, basically. So that's that. As I don't know where he is now, and I don't want to, because I feel like I feel like there's something watching. That's just, and I told him I just think it's not safe. I think he's going to be targeted. So we're going to keep it quiet for now until we see where this goes. I really do feel like there's we're at kind of an end time, really. I think things are happening, um, and that Exopolitics podcast today, well, not from today, but from a week ago. Michael just aired it publicly today, but with JP and the ARCs. I've heard this. I don't bring forth a lot of information unless I have a lot of corroboration. And so we are always talking in the background, just like all of my friends here are, wondering what's going down. What are you remote viewing? What are you feeling? What are other people seeing and feeling? And we've been kind of playing tennis with a lot of this stuff. So kind of like, what do you see? Like, well, I see that. Like, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So many folks have noticed that there are some arcs activating, and the one in the Atlantic area. So yeah, that one opened up. Apparently, I feel it. I feel that it is Altean, and I think. I mean, there may be some a hell there. I don't, it's not ours. I'll say that. It's more than likely, like I said, I feel Altean out of this, and the ships that it's connecting with is Altean. So maybe, so I'm just gonna go back, and so this is what we've been talking about, that I haven't aired because I don't like to just air stuff that may not be real or fake. But I think now that they activated this arc, which I really think they did, there's a chess game going on right now between the remnants of the Cabal and the reinvigorated GFW. So the GFW is all fixed, and I think as JPC, this is good news. It is everything's good news right now. I mean, so the GFW is all fixed up. Some folks have come to me and told me that their husbands or contacts have new positions in the GFW because they had filled up the voids left by the people who left, stepped down, right? Either stepped down honorably or were arrested. So there was a lot of uh, vacancies. So people moved into these new positions, and we have some really good people, I think, now in those positions. So that was like I said, I've had some people come forward and like, gee, I want to corroborate, the information because my contact said this, and now it all makes sense. So we're putting pieces together. So what I feel is that the cabal is planning or has planned some very dark and nefarious things. They don't want to give up the crust. They no longer own it. Those deeds are all gone. So they're pretty much just, holed up here like cockroaches, so um they don't want to just walk away, which they could do, but they won't. They want to cause as much destruction as they can before they leave. So with that in mind, the GFW and other military organizations and councils are playing a defensive game. So it's kind of like somebody makes a move and somebody makes a counter move. This is where we are right now. They have a plan in place in case I don't know what it is. Like, there's no way I would never know. No one would know, really. You'd have to be in just a I mean, it's a military plan, so no one would know. We guess that, as I say, guess, educated guess, that should the cabal really go back against the wall and then be like, hey, fuck it, let's just toast this place, they're going to come in with, a retaliation. So I think the cabal has tried this is actually, I'm just guessing right now, just by putting two and two together and kind of following the crumbs, those sort of thing. So I think that the cabal has done some things, or they know they have planned some things, and that's why they activated the arc. So the cabal knows that, of course, obviously. And I think it's sitting there and connecting, as JP says, two ships upstairs, which of course the cabal knows as well. And I think is kind of a warning. And if it's what we remote viewed, it's saying that if you guys basically even think about doing something pretty bad, we're going to toast you. I think they'll send an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, to fry all the cabal's equipment. So I think there'll be something similar to that to stop it right in the, before it ever launches. So I would say at this point, it feels like, looking at the evidence, the cabal is really toast. Now, will they allow them to do little silly things? They might. The real question now is the majority of the Earthlings on this planet, because they're not ready for for where we are, and there's no time to, fool around any more than we've been fooling. We've been fooling around with them now for roughly 70 years. Ever since the time of the classic contactees, your Menger and your Adamski and your Meyer and blah blah, right? It's actually it's well, this is actually going to air before Frank Chili comes on with his Albert Coe. That's going to air the next day. So you're going to hear this first, but we're going to do Albert Coe. None of that really reached the majority of people on this planet. So ultimately, this whole raising the consciousness stuff flopped. And at this point, we don't have a whole lot of time to fool around anymore. So they had options, and they didn't take them. And no one's really going to be left behind per se, but I think a lot of the Terrans are going to choose them. So it is what it is, and they're definitely going to have a rude awakening, if I think fairly soon-ish. I don't know when. I don't, just because it depends. Um, and again, I think that's part of the issue right now is you know they're not ready, and they're gonna and it's yeah. Anyway, good luck to them, right? So we want to share a phrase to welcome the ark, and welcome the ark that is now awake, as we call these dormant vessels from our various star home areas, and we ask them, and we greet them, and we bow to them as they rise, and basically call us all back to our homes, right? And hopefully call the Earthlings to realize, the value of their planet, right? I mean, this isn't our planet, it's their planet. They really need to take control of their own planet, and hopefully that'll happen. So we say Narusikta elovar aratem vitun Kyle. So we thank and welcome the arcs on our side anyway, right? So yep, there we go. That's pretty much the update for things right now. So yeah, Eco's very relaxed, he's very free, he's just super thrilled. And I'm happy too. I feel more relaxed now that he's relaxed, and he's in a say, like I said, he's with other ETs, and they're in a very safe place, and I think we're just going to kind of play it by ear and see where things go. But anyway, all right, let's see. Yeah, I think we're in the storm right now. So see you guys upstairs.